The Australian government's teenage social media ban is now in place. If you use social media and are under the age of 16, you'll need to scan your face whilst wearing a comedy moustache, or be subject to an analysis of your voice after smoking 2 packs of Monarchs, or have a long track record of complaining about interest rates online. You know, adult stuff. If you're over 16 and use social media, you should probably stop and read a traditional trusty old News Corp newspaper anyway. Authorised by Legacy Media Conglomerates, Canberra.
The following program contains rude words like Mark Latham, blockchain, and Twitter. A Rational Fear recommends listening by immature audiences. Comedians, experts, laughing at the world as it burns down around us. This is A Rational Fear.
Tonight, Australian tourists to the US will have to reveal up to 5 years of social media activity and 10 years of email addresses to US Customs. If Trump wants me to delete BigDickDan69 at hotmail.com, he's got another thing coming. And Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles is in the US on a mission to remind Donald Trump that we put a down payment on some submarines. And Trump is on a mission to have never heard of Australia in his life. And Barnaby Joyce defects to Pauline Hanson's One Nation. Finally, 2 people famous for telling it how it is, yet somehow incomprehensible. It's the 12th of December 2025, and with more seized Venezuelan oil tankers than the US, this is A Rational Fear.
This is A Rational Fear.
Welcome to Rational Fear. I'm your host, former interim chief of the West Tigers, Dan Illich, and it is good to be with you, Lewis. How are you?
I'm well, Dan. Another exciting week in the world, another exciting week in the news. What a great time to be an oil-rich nation such as Venezuela. If you're an Australian and you're watching this Venezuelan situation, just remember we have important stuff too.
Yeah.
And we too could be invaded at any minute for no reason.
I would love Trump to capture like a coal boat. You know, we've seized a giant coal ship from Australia. If they want it, they have to give us access to their coal.
Yeah, it's exciting. It is funny when you look at the top 10 like oil-rich nations in the world and you go, yep, they've invaded them, they've invaded them, they've invaded them. Ooh. There's not a lot of top 10 oil-rich nations that have not been recently invaded by America. It's exciting. It's an exciting time to be Venezuela.
I could just see Trump in a press conference in the future. You know, we've secured a large boat of sheep from Australia. We're going to keep this boat of sheep. You know, we can't wait till we go. If they want this boat of sheep bad, they better give us access to their premium merino wool. He's like a standover man, isn't he? He's it's old school mafia tactics with state power. It's fantastic.
It's exciting.
And a big congratulations to our winner of last week's Evil Rays sunscreen competition, Hayden Shaw. Previous Patreon supporter, cancelled at some point, but decided to come back to get some sunscreen. So thank you. Maybe Hayden actually cancelled 2 weeks ago, or maybe cancelled his Patreon subscription and then re-signed up on knowing he'd be able to get some sunscreen.
Well, congratulations. I've sent it off this week. I've sent some to you as well, Dan.
Oh, excellent.
So, get ready. Thank you again to our sponsor, Evil Ray Sunscreen, for anyone who has ever been outside.
And if you want some free sunscreen, please become a member on Patreon this week and we'll get Lewis's sister to send you out a bottle. There's also no better time to sign up to the Patreon. You get a video version of the show. You get announcements of live shows. Now, we're not doing Comedy Festival next year because Lewis is having another baby, but, you know, maybe we'll do one in Lewis's front yard.
I'll be round. It's just as long as there's, we just might have to bring a child on stage.
But we are going to have maybe a secret gig in February, Lewis. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you know this. There's another famous podcast that's touring.
So closer to the birth of my child.
Yes, closer to the birth of your child.
Than Comedy Festival. Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's right. There's another famous American podcast that does kind of what we do, and they are touring Australia. And I've started a conversation about maybe a secret gig on the sidelines of that tour. So stay tuned for that. A good reason to sign up to the Patreon to hear that first. Coming up, we process the family frequent flyer miles of Australian politicians underline Trump's bold new font choices for the State Department and find out what the backers of the teen social media ban have next in mind. But first, let's meet our fearmongers for tonight. After retreating full-time from comedy like a coward, he's discovered The View is great from the ivory tower in the world of academia. It's Sammy Shah. Welcome, Sammy.
Hey, thank you very much. Quick question. Was this sunscreen one of those that claims to be SPF 50 and is actually SPF 0.5? Or
It was
what's
the reverse. They thought it was SPF 30 and it's SPF 1000.
Oh,
It's the most
excellent.
powerful sunscreen known to man.
It's just tar, actually. You're covering yourself in tar. Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, unfortunately, anyone who wears it immediately gets anemic. It's just like they're lacking vitamin D and iron.
I also want to take offense to one thing that Lewis said earlier, which is that he said that America might invade Australia for no reason. I feel like Australia has been begging to be invaded by America forever. It has been Australia's entire relationship to America is always that little sibling that desperately wants attention. If America invaded Australia, we would be thrilled. We would be so happy. It would be finally some cultural event that we're all united in loving.
Sammy, you're absolutely
I guess
right.
that's what Pine Gap is. It's just a little foreplay.
Yeah, exactly.
You're absolutely right, Sammy. That is why Australia, the sub, is ordering subs. That's why we're doing that.
He thought his name was Dom Trump.
And when she's not managing the lives of 4 boys that live with her, she's spending her days uncovering the hidden influences that make the internet a more interesting place. I'd pay good money to see a search history. From the Internet Reviewed, it's Kirsten Drysdale. Welcome, Kirsten.
Hey there, thanks. I thought I'd lost track of my own kids for a second there when you said 4 boys.
Well, I was including your
I'm like,
husband in that one.
you mean the husband.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he counts.
That is a lot of testosterone in one house, yeah.
Oh, mate, you are telling me. Yeah. And the sunscreen in our house, so we've got one of those like mega sized, like 3-litre pump ones.
Yeah.
I came out the other day and my 2-year-old was butt naked, covered all over, massaging it into himself in that sunscreen. So I could really do with some Evil Ray, please.
Slip,
Great,
slop,
great.
slurp. That's what he decided. Don't worry, Kirsten. We'll send you out some Evil Rays, courtesy of our sponsor, Evil Rays. This week's First Fear, Marco Rubio has declared his next DEI victim, the font Calibri. Yes, Marco Rubio has declared that the Microsoft system font is too woke and therefore must not be used for official communications for the State Department. Now, this goes back to when during the Biden administration, Secretary of State Antony Blinken made the call for the State Department to use Calibri as a way to be more accessible and inclusive, because it totally makes sense. When you're sending communiques about bombing third world countries, you want a font that is clear to read, because if you have visual disabilities, chances are you're about to get a few more. Kirsten, is Calibri too woke or just too foreign sounding?
A bit of both, I think. But I would just really like to read some of the quotes from Marco Rubio explaining his decision to return to Times New Roman, because so it's the little tips on the ends of the letters, right, that they were really, really missing. And they say that these serif typefaces are generally perceived to connote tradition, formality, and ceremony. and it's this is a quote, to restore decorum and professionalism to the department's written work products. And that's definitely what I think of when I think of Trump's Department of State. Decorum and professionalism all the way. Yeah.
Yeah, what does Trump care? He can't read.
And he likes to just write everything in a Sharpie. I thought maybe they would return to that as the official font of the American government.
Yeah, that'd be nice. If the official font, it's like Wingdings, but every time you type in a letter, it gets turned into like young woman's genitalia, like the letter he wrote to Epstein.
Yes. Actually, Wingdings was the official transcript of Joe Biden's debate performance last year. That's how they put that out. Yeah.
It's amazing that they've like doubled down on Times New Roman, because Times New Roman was made for the New York Times. If they're going to choose that font, they have to rename the font to maybe Failing Times New Roman.
I do like the fact that they thought Calibri was too woke. Which is ridiculous, because everyone knows that the woke fonts are Comic Sans and Papyrus. Like, those are the ones that are basically going to call you out and for not saying their pronouns. Like, those are the woke fonts. Papyrus particularly, I thought they'd hate because it's so Middle Eastern looking and they would just suspect it right away.
But they love Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar.
That's
yes.
true. That's
They love
true.
Avatar.
That movie lost credibility for me within the first 5 seconds. I remember when I went to watch the first Avatar and the title came up in Papyrus. I was like, "Yep, I'm out. I can't take this seriously anymore."
It's so interesting. Back in 2017, Trump's lawyer, Ty Cobb, sent out a press release to the media, and he sent it out in Comic Sans. Like, Comic Sans is actually the choice of Trump's deep state.
I do love Comic Sans. I have a fondness for Comic Sans because it is the one. It's the punch. Everyone punches down on it and everything. It's every grandma's favorite font back in the day. Now even grandmas are woke, so they all use Calibri as well. But yeah, it's the unsung hero of lifting someone's mood. If you send any announcement out, including "Hey, everyone in my family just died horribly, painfully," in Comic Sans, someone will go like, "Huh." And it just, it's a nice moment.
It softens the blow. And I mean, when Trump declares war on Venezuela formally, which I'm sure he will do soon, he's going to do it in Comic Sans. So, it just won't be so frightening.
We're a minute away from all Trump communications being emoji-based. Just like, that's it. Just sort of a picture of a boat, picture of a turd, picture of fire.
A middle finger.
Yeah. A lot of eggplant emojis constantly, yeah.
Your fear is rational.
This week's Second Fear, the pub test has a new classic question. How many frequent family flights can a politician fund for free? According to Senate estimates, $4 million of travel has been stumped up by the taxpayer for politicians' family and spouses, with 4 politicians charging over $100,000 for family airfares. This comes a few days after Annika Wells charged the taxpayer over $100,000 for a team trip to New York City for her department to spruik the teenage social media ban. And she also, early in the year, had a $1,000 Comcar on standby while she attended the Australian Open. Sammy, does this pass the pub test?
I know. Everyone's saying the same thing. This is bullshit. This is not past the pub test. It is not how you're supposed to behave. I have a different approach to this whole thing. Look, I used to work in advertising back in the day when I was in Pakistan, and we used to go to Thailand to shoot our commercials over there. We didn't need to go to Thailand to shoot our commercials. You can shoot every commercial in Pakistan, but if you convince the client that you shoot them in Thailand, you get a holiday in Thailand. And so we used to go to Thailand. Then we do all the shopping for our family. Like my wife would ask for fish, skincare products. Yeah. My daughter would want new dresses and things. You do all the shopping. You'd go to 7-Eleven, and you'd ask them to give you a roll of receipts. Printed out receipts, and they'd give you the roll, and it would all be in Thai. And so no one in Pakistan could read it. And you'd go back to the office and claim everything as an expense. Now, I did that years ago in Pakistan. Everyone did it, right? Moved to Australia years later. I get to the ABC, and the ABC is famously very skint, right? As we know. I remember at one point they gave me a cab charge, and they said, "Can you take the train halfway?" Because the cab charge doesn't have enough money on it. So in retaliation, I did the only thing you can do, which is I abused the printing services with the office printer, and I used to just print off every draft of every novel I ever thought about writing, right? Now, some would say that's
Jared
taxpayer
Henderson,
money.
you heard it here first.
Yeah, absolutely. The whole point of having a fucking job in this world where all we're doing is losing bits of ourselves to the world, to their social media, to online spaces and everything, is you get to steal a little bit back from your job. I am currently employed. This is just humor and comedy. Please don't, to the HR department listening. But it is part of, this is the thing. Now, if Annika Wells, if Fatma Payman, if any of these politicians hadn't used their position to get some extra shit into their pockets and, get their family members business class tickets or whatever, I would think they were crazy, and I would suspect them of being bribed by someone else to cover their expenses. The fact that they're doing this so openly and blatantly, to me, shows they're human, shows that they're relatable. Everyone is like, is this Australian? Of course it's fucking Australian. What Australian doesn't try taking advantage of the system? When there's free shit being given out, you're not going to take it, really. When you go to Woolies and they've got a thing there with free apples, you're not putting a few of those into your pocket? Come on. Who are you? So this whole
I
thing
do that
of
when I go to the Apple store, Sammy. I just see a few apples at the Apple store, put them in my
Apple is
pocket.
an apple.
And then things,
exactly. The whole idea, and everyone's like, yeah, but what about the taxpayer? This is millions of taxpayer dollars. Look, I've met fucking taxpayers. I'm a taxpayer. The taxpayer's a fucking idiot, all right? Most of my money goes on Amazon purchases for I don't need or streaming services. You know who's using it better? Annika Wells to fly her husband to get a tennis match and rent a car for $1,000 a day or whatever. It's going to go down the pisser anyway. It might as well go down the pisser helping someone reconnect with their family. I'm sorry. The whole thing of like, this is wrong, probably, but it's so wrong, it's right. There. Happy?
That was incredibly convincing, you know. I actually think that does clear the pub test now, like by a million miles when you put it that way.
Yeah, if you're in Parliament, already you've got a shit job. You're a parliamentarian. You're not very bright. You're a politician in Australia. And then someone says, hey, you can fly your family to go and watch the Australian Open business class. Are you going to be like, no, actually, I respect the taxpayer? No, fuck the taxpayer. The taxpayer's an idiot. They voted you in.
The thing that I find confusing about it, I'm not bothered by the money. I'm bothered by why are you flying your family? Like, you have an opportunity to get away from your families.
Exactly.
For go to some great event on
Kirsten,
your own and you're bringing them with you? What's wrong?
100%.
That's
100%. Like
because they're losers.
Fairfax published a table of the most egregious amounts versus the least. Katie Gallagher and Chris Bowen both charged $0, which is either indicative of their respect for the taxpayer or simply their families hate them and don't want anything to do with
But
it.
also, Katie Gallagher is from the ACT, right? So
so she doesn't need anyone flying anywhere. Yeah,
I think that might be right, or maybe New South Wales close to the ACT. So I think in order to a business class flight would be 3 seconds. I think it's harder to justify. Most of them are from people. The highest numbers are usually people from South Australia and Perth.
Yeah.
Well, Fatima payments from Perth. And I'm like, that's not fair because every flight from Perth is $7,000 and you land in Perth and then you want to kill yourself. So,
I mean, and you can see that like Senator Fatima Payments charge $118,000 for her family. She's from Western Australia. But also $118,000 is a small price to pay for the humiliation that Labor has caused her over the last year. So that's totally fine.
I think Katie Gallagher, since she has all the downsides of being a politician and none of the perks of spending time away from her family, she should get some like pain and suffering payment to compensate for that.
Just cash in an envelope.
She has to go home to them every night.
She needs a Hello World gift voucher from the Liberal Party.
How much did Barnaby Joyce pay? Because I'd be curious to know how much it costs to fly all of his families in.
He's got several.
Well, we know one
families.
family isn't meeting him. His former family, his ex-wife is now a power body lifter, and I'm a massive fan of hers because her journey way more interesting than this alcoholic idiot.
Wow, how do you follow her journey, Sammy? Are you like a fan of hers on Instagram?
It was a news story. You can look this up. So when he got divorced, after cheating on his ex-wife and his 3 daughters, she went on that kind of same thing that a lot of people who get cheated on go through, which is, you know what, I'm going to do this for me.
Yeah.
And she went and became a bodybuilder, then became a powerlifter, then competed and won awards in powerlifting.
That's amazing.
And that is way more interesting as a human being than whatever nonsense we think Barnaby Joyce is capable of spouting.
I'm going to call the producers of Australian Story. We must hear this. We must hear half an hour of this.
Yeah.
Shouldn't she be on Dancing with the Stars? Isn't that
Barnaby Joyce's ex was on Dancing with the Stars?
No, I'm saying she should be.
Oh, right, yes.
That's good casting. That's good casting.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Barnaby Joyce should be on Australian Traders.
The only podcast made entirely by artificial intelligence. A rational fear.
This week's third fear, the Let Them Be Kids campaign. Yes, this week the teenage social media ban came into place. Crikey did some digging to find out who was behind the ban. Many people, including Whipper from Nova FM, but another guy called Rob Galuzzo from Finch, which is a big production company. They've come together to create something called 36 Months. And this consulting firm, this 36 Months business, is the brains behind the entire social media ban. And they've got incredible sponsors like KitKat. They've got big plans post-ban, including some AI teenage social media monitoring tool that parents and teachers can use to monitor their kids. Oh my God, this is crazy. Fearmongers, 36 months. Are you impressed by their ability to get such weird policy turned around very quickly this year? Given, the Labor Party's notorious for not doing anything.
Well, the Labor Party are notorious for doing anything unless it is suggested by a commercial radio host. That seems to be their new MO. Like in Victoria, the Labor Party has been doing whatever Fifi Fev and Nick say in terms of bail laws. And now whatever Whipper says goes when it comes to Labor. But it is incredible, like the amount of photo opportunities that hanging out with Whipper has given Albo. Like particularly that being at like Hamish and Andy's pub with like Hugh Jackman and shouting everyone a pub while he rings like the Bells Beach bell. You're like, I reckon the photos he's gotten from this campaign will be worth it for him, like regardless of how fucked it is as a policy.
Albanese's always reminded me of is that I don't know if you remember this story about this little boy. He had cancer and he loved Batman. So for one day, they turned the entire city into Gotham City.
That's
where
right.
he got to dress up as Batman, and everyone pretended to be the Joker and the Riddler, and he got around punching everyone, and he got to pretend for one day like he's Batman. It was like his dream come true. Albo reminds me of that. Like everyone's just pretending that he's a prime minister, and he gets to act like a prime minister and run around and do like cool things. Like, look at me with this celebrity, look at me with that person, and then one day we'll be like, all right, Albo, you're done now. Now let the adults take over.
It's so funny. Like I'm reading The Good Fight, which is the quarterly essay from Sean Kelly at the moment. And Sean Kelly's a guy that's worked for Gillard, he's worked for Rudd, and he's basically spending 400 pages to try and work out what Labor Party stands for. It's like every chapter is like, I don't quite know what they believe, but let me have a think about what they believe. It's basically a 400-page haiku about what the Labor Party might actually stand for. It's so funny. Like it's kind of ridiculous that we all feel this. We all feel like that their actions don't match their words, and it's a very strange sort of place to be in, where maybe this government doesn't actually believe in anything. And Lewis, I think you articulated it so well a few podcasts back when you were talking about climate change and how yes, Bowen's doing all this great stuff to reduce local emissions, but then our external Scope 3 emissions are going through the roof. Like it's such a crazy kind of dichotomy we're in.
They just let every minister run in a completely different direction. And so there is no unifying force. There is no overlying strategy. It is literally what is going to get us the best press coverage tomorrow. And then there's no real thought beyond that. And there's no thought about whether or not one hand is like completely ruining the day of the other hand. But it is like, if you ever wanted more proof that the Labor Party today is the Liberal Party of the 90s, it's that they're working with News Corp.
Yes,
like,
with this teenage ban, this
like
teenage social media ban.
Yeah, News Corp are actively pulling negative stories about the Labor Party. I'm just like, I haven't seen this since the Liberal. Like, okay, well, Albo is just Howard now. He's just gone full fucking Howard.
So to give some context for listeners, the Annika Wells expense story was a huge story this week, massive story over the last 7 days. But News Corp on their news.com.au site, they published an exclusive because they got it first, and then a few hours later, it got pulled down. Primarily because the first Annika Wells story was about the $100,000 trip to New York to promote the teenage social media ban, and that is it. That is a campaign that News Corp is part of. They are campaigning for that ban.
On that $100,000 trip in New York, she met with bosses of News Corp at New York. So part of this thing that they were yelling at her for was meeting them.
And so News Corp haven't actually even bothered to cover this story properly because the Annika Wells story is inextricably
So wait,
linked
let me get this straight. So at first they were like, hey, look, this minister wasted $100,000 of taxpayer money on a junket to New York.
Yeah.
And then someone else went, wait a minute, guys, that was our junket.
Yes.
And then they
were like, the junket was to meet us, and also the junket was to promote our campaign. And then now if you try to click on the story, it's a dead link.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That
if
is
you've
amazing.
if you've ever been in the media cycle, you know this thing happens, right? Where like, so for example, one producer from ABC or from Sky News will contact you and say, "Hey, we'd love you to come on our show this morning." And then a few hours later, another producer will call you and say, "Hey," from the same station, and say, "Hey, we'd love you to come on our show this afternoon." And then another one will say, "Hey, can I have your phone number? Because they email you and say, because I would like to invite you on my show this evening." And you realize that in the same building, forget the same building, the same floor, none of them talk to each other. They all find each other so detestable as human beings. And this is all journalists, by the way, not just ABC, not just Sky News, every news outlet, that they will not even communicate basic information with each other. Like, "Hey, I already booked that person, don't book them," or "Here's their phone number." And that's what happened here. Someone ran the story and then someone else saw it on their website and was like, "Oh shit, we should probably not be running this story," and then ask them to take it off, basically.
No.
Yeah, it's why anytime anyone's like, there's a media conspiracy, you're like, it
Have
is
you
unlikely.
met anyone in media?
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
hard to
Yeah.
get two journalists to agree,
Yeah.
let alone a
That
fucking
would
floor.
require some level of like competence and
Yeah.
coordination that you just know does not exist in these places.
Yeah.
Cam Wilson posted a picture last night of the Sydney Harbour Bridge plastered with the phrase "Let them be kids" on the pylon across the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which also coincided with a party at Kirribilli House where Annika Wells was celebrating the teenage social media ban going into action. Now, the phrase, as Cam Wilson points out, "let them be kids," is not a phrase the Albanese government has ever come up with. It's a phrase that News Corp has been running for ages to promote this particular social media ban in the vain hope that one day these kids will just pick up a newspaper instead of reading social media.
It's such a beautiful dream that all these 15-year-olds will go, "Oh, God damn it, I can't go to Snapchat. Well, let's check out the culture section. Get out the old crossword."
Incidentally, I noticed today in Sydney, there was a riot in Broadway Shopping Centre where a group of teenage kids were chasing after another teenage kid. And all I could think of was, God, if only these kids had social media to waste their time on rather than running around the shopping centre with machetes.
But also, let them be kids is so crazy considering how many different governments, particularly Labor governments, are locking up kids now. Like, they're just lowering the age of criminal responsibility. And you're just like, all right, so you can't fucking have a scroll, but you will go to prison.
You cannot be 16, you cannot be 15 and on social media, but you can get a life sentence in prison at the age of 12. So that's how we... but what's interesting about the story that Dan, that you started with, which is the whole, the social media campaign, anti-social media campaign, which got 36 months, is... like I mentioned, I worked in advertising previously. So I know advertising people are some of the worst human beings on earth, right? Like, they are detestable, vile vultures with no moral core. And so so this organization, this company called 36 Months, which said it wasn't a company, it was actually supposed to be a non-profit, but somehow is making profit now.
They call themselves a startup.
Yeah,
now.
Exactly. So they're owned by this guy called Rob Galuzzo, who runs Finch, which is an advertising agency. Their AI tool that they're developing to help teenage children stay off the internet and monitor their well-being is being developed by another AI company that's also owned by Rob Galuzzo. I took a look previously. Rob Galuzzo also used to run a charity that worked with the United Nations Development Program, the UNDP, that was looking at channeling big businesses into donating more money to environmental programs. It's called the Lions Share Club. And if you take a look at their financial records, they're all available on the UNDP website. It's really interesting how 47% of all the money, millions of dollars, six point something $million that they declared in 2024, 47% of that just goes on consultant expenses.
No way.
So, there's like this information's all out there.
Yeah.
These guys, it's always just the same advertising. It's not even, I don't want to use the phrase circle jerk because that involves other people. It's usually just masturbation.
I never signed an NDA, but I had a meeting with Rob Galuzzo once about developing a TV show. And he had this great idea for a TV show.
Of course he did.
And he was trying to say, but what do you do? I thought he wanted to talk about irrational fear for some reason. So I was explaining to him about all the good work we'd done, all the great videos we've made. And he stopped me halfway and said, look, I would love to talk about the economics of satire one day, but I've got another idea for a TV show. I thought no one's ever said "shut up your pitch" than talking about the economics of satire one day. And this is a guy. I walked away from the meeting going, "Oh, this is a guy who knows that satire is painful to politicians and is probably not very interested in working with anyone that's doing this."
I just love that we are so deep in the age of the grift now that you can even turn "won't somebody think of the children" into a grift. Like,
well, that's the core of most grifts.
well,
I mean, to be fair, yeah, even Epstein was thinking of the children. It's all in the phrasing. It's all in where you put the stresses in the sentence, right?
Yeah, you can't hold that against him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Too far, Dan. Too far.
No, we had Grace Tame on the show last week, and she went further than that. Don't worry.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, as you three people have children, I thought I'd play you this clip and ask you what you thought of it. This is Sam Altman on, I think, Fallon, talking about children and ChatGPT.
And do you use ChatGPT when raising your baby?
I do. I mean, I feel kind of bad about it because we have this genius level at everything, intelligence, sitting there waiting to unravel the mysteries of humanity. And I'm like, why does my kid stop dropping his pizza on the floor and laughing?
Yeah.
You know?
And
so I feel like I'm not asking a good enough question, but it is, I cannot imagine having gone through that, figuring out how to raise a newborn without ChatGPT. Clearly people did it for a long time, no problem.
Yes.
But
yeah.
So I know it's
Fearmongers, can you imagine raising a newborn without ChatGPT?
Oh my God.
I have a blanket rule about parenting that is not to take advice from anyone, anywhere, ever. 100% follow your gut.
That's a great rule. I love that.
That's it. Definitely not ChatGPT.
Look, have I Googled why is 8-week-old now suddenly no longer drinking from bottle and then looked for solutions on Reddit? Yes. Would I trust the other parents on Reddit more than ChatGPT? Probably. Is that wise? Probably not. But also, I take offense to the idea that Sam Altman is raising his kid in any way. There is no billionaire verging on trillionaire who is actively involved in their child's parenting. They have an army of slaves to do that.
That question should have been, does your nanny use ChatGPT?
Exactly.
Yeah, when he also, that's just so funny watching Sam Altman and Jimmy Fallon, two of the worst people, try to have a sweet conversation about children. It fell apart immediately when he's just I'm sitting there going, why is my child dropping a pizza on the floor and laughing? You're like, that's a question? That's the question? Why is my child laughing? That's the problem to you? Why does my child think dropping something on the floor is... It's like, oh, you genuinely don't know what people are and how they work. You've never seen a person before. You've never understood a human emotion. You have no fucking idea, either of you, Jimmy Fallon, what fucking humor is. You guys both suck so fucking much. It reminded me so much, that interview, of watching Jimmy Fallon, tussle Donald Trump's hair before the 2016 election and not understand at all the significance of what he was doing, and B, the fucking Paris Hilton,
yes!
Paris Hilton grift where he enables...
I watched that this week. I was like,
I don't know what that is. Recap.
One of life's...
Was this to do with the gorillas picture?
It was in the height of crypto art. The absolute height of it.
It was called Bored Ape NFT.
That's right. My brother was into them. Everyone's brother was into them.
It was the height of the grift.
He's got that kind of chronic fear of being disliked by anyone, it feels like, and that's why he just is so cozy with everyone.
But I do like the fact that Lewis is right. In terms of Altman's one question he can come up with, it wasn't why is my baby crying at 3 o'clock in the morning nonstop and is this colic? It was, why is baby making strange sound from mouth when funny thing happened? What is ha, ha, ha? Because he has no idea what humans interact
all of these tech billionaires are humorless. You're just none of you have experienced a fucking joke. None of you understand the core of what it is to be a person. None of you have ever experienced joy. I wish you nothing but pain, sickness, and death.
there's a clip of like Elon Musk on Joe Rogan. Just a room that you can imagine could not smell worse. Elon Musk and Joe Rogan in this one room. And it was Elon Musk talking about if you really want to have a good time and at a party, get Grok to roast your friends. And you're like, that's your idea of a good time at a party? Is getting the AI tool you developed to create fake Taylor Swift nudes to roast your friends? Like, all right,
it's
okay.
horrific.
Yeah, you deserve the money you've got because it'll bring nothing but misery.
Also, you're like, don't take the joy away from bullying. Bullying is an art, you know? And it is it is an art that is honed,
it's character
and crafted,
building.
and it is the basis of most comedians' finances.
Exactly. It makes you a better comedian also, being bullied as a child.
It makes you, and then it turns you into a bully. And that's who we are as people.
And then bullies become satirists, and we bully those in power. And what else could we do? It's so funny you mentioned the Paris Hilton thing. I just watched that this week, I think after I saw this Sam Alton video. And I watched it again, just to remind myself what that Paris Hilton conversation was about. And it is far worse and incomprehensible now in 2025 than it was in 2022. So this only happened 3 years ago. 2022 was the height of NFT craziness. NFTs, for anybody who is under 30 listening, was a period where you
60
was a period where you could buy JPEGs for money, real kind of crypto money, and then you would own that JPEG. You would own that picture. It was this weird kind of token sort of
it never made
blockchain
sense.
thing.
It never made any sort of logical sense.
And all the NFTs in the world have gone to zero if you didn't sell them in the first 24 months of 2021.
No, you've just got to hang on a little bit longer. I still got one.
Buy the dip, Dan. Buy the dip.
They're coming back.
Anyway, so
Just write it out,
this is Paris Hilton on Fallon promoting Bored Ape NFTs, and we'll play. Hang on a sec. So if you want to pause the video at any time, just yell out "hang on a sec" and I'll pause the video. So here we go.
I was going through a lot of them, and I was like, I want something that like kind of reminds me of me. This one, it does. I think we made like another version of it where he takes the hat off and blonde hair comes out.
Yeah, because you could do now whatever
hang
you
on
want.
a sec. Hang on a sec. So again, for people watching, this is Paris Hilton on Jimmy Fallon. And they are holding a picture of a Bored Ape NFT, which is the most generic cartoon of a
clip art
monkey wearing a police hat and sunglasses. And they're talking about it like they've just discovered like a secret Monet. And it is... And even when you heard Jimmy Fallon try to get involved in the laugh there, when she's like, we thought about making an ape with a blonde hair. Like, I don't know if you can go back 10 seconds, but listen to his... listen to the laugh that he tries to do. It's the saddest half laugh. And this is a man who laughs at anything.
We made like another version of it where he takes the hat off and blonde hair comes out.
Yeah, because you could do now whatever you want.
Yeah, and Fallon's follow-up was, of course, because you can make this picture do anything you want. Like you can draw a picture of an ape.
Yes,
you can draw things any way you want. I just wanted to pay attention to the audience reaction as this clip unfolds.
We have it here. What can you tell us about this?
It took me 6 months, and it's a collage.
We're seeing an animated collage of
Carter,
Paris Hilton's
and it's
new
called My Forever
NFT
Fairy Tale.
that's going for sale.
Here's the actual collage.
Yes.
That clap sign is working so hard right now. The clap sign went from clap, please clap, for fuck's sake clap, or we're going to shoot you all in the head before anyone put their hands together for that shit show.
It gets better. It gets better.
This is big. I think people are going to love this.
Well, if you love it so much, I actually am going to give you the first one.
I would be honored.
And I want to give one to everyone in the audience.
Now, to kind of put this in perspective, it's not a car. These people are cheering at receiving an animated GIF. That is what they're getting, an animated GIF for free. Of
a mood board.
Yes, of Paris Hilton's mood board.
Again, to watch this, imagine a A2-sized paper that you've quickly gone through Women's Weekly, cut out photos of the same person and stuck them up with like a Yoo-hoo glue stick. It has taken you, 3 hours maybe if you stop to enjoy yourself.
It took her 6 months, I want to point out.
It's like It looks like a ransom letter made by a love-struck 12-year-old girl. That's what it looks like.
This is Irrational Fear.
Well, this is the final show for Irrational Fear in 2025. And to round out the episode, I've got 12 months in 12 questions, and the most ridiculous answer will win each question. So let's get underway. Are you guys ready to play 12 months in 12 questions?
Let's rock and roll.
Here we go. January, vandals in Ballarat damaged 18 statues of former prime ministers, and they severed the heads of Kevin Rudd and Paul Keating. Who was the most likely culprit?
Malcolm Turnbull?
Kevin
The Rotary Club.
I'll give you half a point for Malcolm Turnbull too. That was very good. Former Matildas captain Sam Kerr was found not guilty of racially harassing a police officer after calling him a what?
Ooh. This is an interesting challenge now. Who can come up with a racial
This
insult?
is baiting.
Yeah.
You're baiting us into offering racial slurs.
The coalition,
Yeah, fortunately,
On
the
a
only one we
podcast.
can say is the one she said.
which is
White dog, wasn't it?
stupid
Oh,
white dog or something.
White dog?
The coalition
Okay.
dissolved in May. Then the coalition reformed 8 days later. Which party needs the other party more?
I think what they've been missing clearly has been a really good cook-up where they all use a sandwich press to cook Wagyu steaks. And that's the glue that'll bind them together.
Prince Andrew was formally stripped of his royal titles. What will he go by now?
The artist formerly known as Prince?
The pedophile currently known as Prince.
In February, Chinese warships conducted 2 days of live fire exercises in the Tasman Sea in preparation to fight which adversary?
Ooh,
Mermaids?
which adversary? Good health and safety regulations in factories? I don't know. Yeah.
Susan Lee became the first Liberal Party leader that's also a what?
Fan of numerology?
A person with 2 S's in the word Susan. No, 3 S's in the word Susan? Is that she has 3 S's or 2 S's? I screwed that up.
Yeah, publicly a member of the SS Club, I guess. She's the first one.
Yeah.
In September, what was the most efficient way for Optus customers to call an ambulance?
Smoke signals.
Yelling out the window.
What did that
Yeah.
sound like, Kirsten?
Kirsten's neighbors are going to now call.
Someone is. A lot of people walk past here all the time.
Make America Healthy Again is an initiative by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to decrease what?
Decrease infant survival rates.
Also, I think he wants to increase amount of affairs with journalists.
I'm waiting for Robert F. Kennedy to bring out an audio memoir. I think that would be great. That would be great listening to in bed.
Not since Alfie Langer has there been such an indecipherable autobiography.
In July, after being found guilty of murdering 3 people with mushrooms, Eric Patterson will now spend 33 years where?
Prison kitchen.
And finally, what is Marty Sheargold doing right now?
Advising the government on their next policy.
Yeah, I'd like to think that every commercial radio station is currently whipping up their own policy to try to come up with Smooth FM are just every adult gets a warm bath and a glass of red.
They have a cabinet meeting just to work out what their next announcement will be.
I'm dreading whatever Carl Sandilands comes up with, but yes. Yeah.
That is it for Irrational Fear, and that is it for the Irrational Year. Big thank you to our guests, Kirsten Drysdale and Sammy Shah, and Lewis Hobber. Let's get our plugs underway. Kirsten, what would you like to plug?
My YouTube channel, The Internet Reviewed. Check it out. Like, subscribe, all that.
It's been doing really well.
I critically
on YouTube,
reviewed.
you've already got 10,000 subscribers, and your videos are cracking over 60,000. You're killing it.
Yeah, I've had a few little breakouts, and the main thrust of the channel is that I am critically reviewing other online content creators. So I try and pitch it as basically it's Media Watch meets at the movies, but for the internet. Okay.
Sammy.
My podcast is News Weekly. It is a news satire podcast as well. WEAKLY is how poorly that is spelled. News Weekly, you can find it. It comes out every Saturday. It's 15 minutes of the news headlines, kind of rounded up and shoved it down your throat. So I hope you enjoy that.
I do every week. Lewis Hobber, what would you like to plug?
Well, I'd like to thank our sponsor once again, Dan. Of course, Evil Ray Sunscreen. For anyone who has ever had skin. It is for anyone with skin and who wants to keep it on their bones. Evil Ray Sunscreen. Available now where you can find on the internet. I don't think it's in many stores yet, but you can go to evilray.com and buy the sunscreen. Evil Ray Sunscreen. For anyone Who wants to live?
That's a very good slogan. I have to tell you, I did Google it to put it into the Substack email out. And ever since then, I've been followed around the internet by Evil Ray's sunscreen ads. So you can definitely find it online. It's definitely there. It's definitely there. And if you want a free bottle of sunscreen for summer, hit us up and become a Patreon supporter. And we'll send you out a free bottle this week. Big thank you.
I feel like Kirsten made a pretty blatant claim or request for a free bottle. So I feel like that should at least
Oh,
be
yeah.
for-
No, we'll send you one. Sammy, if you want one too, we'll I guess I'm just saying, yes, we'll send you one on behalf of Lewis. So,
Just
Bulk family size.
Yeah,
please.
it's slightly too fancy for the bulk family size, but we can get you a bottle. It'll last 5 minutes for in the Drysdale household.
I have to Google this. What does a fancy sunscreen look like?
It also has something quite cool on the label, which is that the sun on the label reacts to the UV. So when the sun is out on the label, that's when you know you need to put the sunscreen on.
Oh, this is
What? That's magic.
Guys, it's really good sunscreen, gang. It's really good stuff.
And if you want a free bottle, send us some money our way. Go to patreon.com/irrationalfear. Big thanks to Road Mikes, all of our Patreon supporters, Jacob Round on the Teppanyaki timeline. This episode was recorded on the land of the Gundungurra. Until next year, there's always something to be scared of. Bye.
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 Bye.